The darkness of space enveloped Captain Marcus Hale's vessel as warning lights flashed violently across the cockpit. His hands gripped the controls with white-knuckled determination while his ship spiraled uncontrollably toward the unknown planet below. The asteroid field had come out of nowhere, a death trap that even the most advanced detection systems couldn't predict. As gravity pulled him closer to certain doom, Marcus reflected on how his promising career as one of Earth Fleet's youngest pilots had led him to this moment. The ship's AI screamed collision warnings, but Marcus knew he had only seconds to make critical decisions. The planet's atmosphere burned bright orange around him as he fought to maintain control, pieces of his vessel tearing away like shed skin. Through sheer willpower and training, he managed to stabilize just enough for a controlled crash landing in what appeared to be a dense forest region. The impact sent shockwaves through his body, and darkness claimed him before he could assess the damage. When consciousness returned, Marcus found himself trapped in the mangled remains of his cockpit. The air smelled strange, metallic with hints of something sweet and floral. His survival instincts kicked in as he forced himself to move despite the pain. Each step outside revealed a landscape both beautiful and terrifying. Towering crystalline trees pulsed with inner light, and the ground seemed to breathe beneath his boots. But beauty quickly gave way to danger as movement in the shadows caught his attention. Figures moved with predatory grace among the luminous foliage. Their forms were humanoid yet distinctly alien. Elongated limbs, skin that shimmered like liquid metal, and eyes that glowed with an intelligence that chilled him to the bone. Marcus realized he'd crash-landed on a world teeming with life that viewed him as nothing more than prey. Despite the immediate threat, Marcus took stock of his surroundings with military precision. The planet's gravity was slightly heavier than Earth's, making each movement more taxing. The air composition seemed breathable, though it carried traces of unknown elements that made his throat itch. He salvaged what he could from the wreckage: a damaged plasma pistol, a few ration packs, and his personal data pad. The latter proved invaluable, its limited power allowing him to record observations about the planet's ecosystem. The crystalline trees, he noted, seemed to conduct some form of energy, their pulses synchronized in patterns that suggested communication. The ground itself appeared alive, tiny organisms shifting and rearranging like living sand. Every sense told him this place was alive in ways Earth scientists couldn't have imagined. The realization filled him with equal parts wonder and dread. If these creatures were intelligent, his presence here wouldn't go unnoticed for long. As night fell, the temperature plummeted, and the forest transformed into a symphony of alien sounds, clicks, whistles, and low-frequency rumbles that made his skin crawl. Marcus scavenged materials from the wreckage, fashioning a crude shelter and setting up perimeter alarms using salvaged components. His military training served him well, but nothing could prepare him for the feeling of being utterly alone on an alien world. The isolation pressed heavily on his mind, memories of home and family surfacing unbidden. Yet survival demanded focus, and he pushed these thoughts aside, concentrating instead on fortifying his position. The Lumini, as he mentally dubbed them after their glowing characteristics, began closing in, their movements becoming more aggressive with each passing hour. Just when all hope seemed lost, a figure emerged from the shadows, moving differently from the others. Her presence commanded attention, a young woman with features that suggested mixed heritage between human and Lumini. Her eyes held a familiar spark of humanity, though they glowed softly in the darkness. She spoke in halting English, warning him to follow if he wanted to live. Without hesitation, Marcus obeyed, knowing instinctively that this mysterious stranger represented his only chance at survival. The young woman introduced herself as Eva, pronouncing it with a lilting accent that hinted at linguistic evolution. She led Marcus through hidden paths in the luminescent forest, explaining in broken phrases how she'd been watching him since his crash. Her knowledge of human language stemmed from secret observations of Earth's broadcasts intercepted by underground rebel groups. As they traveled deeper into the alien wilderness, Eva revealed fragments of her past, born to a human mother abducted during a scientific expedition and raised in hiding among those who opposed the oppressive Lumini regime. Her dual heritage marked her as an outsider to both species, existing in a precarious balance between worlds. Marcus listened intently, piecing together the complex social hierarchy of the Lumini society. They were governed by a council of elders who maintained power through fear and technological superiority, viewing humans as inferior beings destined for either slavery or extermination. Eva's people lived in constant fear of discovery, their rebellion fueled by generations of oppression and the desire for freedom. The revelation that humans had once kidnapped members of their species added another layer of complexity to the interspecies conflict. Their journey through the alien forest revealed more about Eva's unique abilities. She navigated the terrain with uncanny precision, her steps avoiding patches of ground that seemed identical to Marcus's eyes. When pressed, she explained that her hybrid nature allowed her to perceive subtle energy patterns in the environment, patterns invisible to purebloods of either species. This ability extended to reading emotions and intentions, though she admitted it worked better with humans than with full-blooded Lumini. Marcus found himself studying her movements, noting how her skin occasionally shimmered with iridescent patterns that seemed to communicate information to other hybrids she encountered along their path. These encounters were brief and cautious, with other hybrids exchanging quick bursts of color and gesture before disappearing back into the forest. Eva explained that they formed a network of resistance, sharing information through these visual signals to avoid detection by Lumini authorities. As days passed, Marcus observed how Eva balanced her dual heritage. During daylight hours, she often positioned herself near sources of direct sunlight, explaining that her human DNA required regular exposure to maintain proper cellular function. At night, however, her Lumini traits became more pronounced, her skin developing a faint glow that helped navigate the darkness. This constant adaptation fascinated Marcus, who began documenting their journey in greater detail on his data pad. The recordings captured not only their physical journey, but also the gradual erosion of barriers between them. Eva's initial suspicion gave way to cautious cooperation, while Marcus's professional detachment softened into genuine concern for her safety. They established routines that played to their respective strengths. Marcus handled mechanical repairs and tactical planning, while Eva provided crucial insights into local customs and environmental hazards. This division of labor created an unspoken bond, their survival increasingly dependent on each other's unique capabilities. Days turned into weeks as Marcus adapted to life among the rebels. Eva taught him to navigate the alien terrain, identify edible plants, and understand basic Lumini customs. Their initial interactions were marked by mutual suspicion. Marcus questioned her motives while Eva struggled with trusting a member of the species responsible for her mother's abduction. Yet necessity forged an uneasy alliance. During ambushes by Lumini patrols, their survival depended on seamless cooperation. Marcus marveled at Eva's ability to blend into both human and alien societies, her bioluminescent patterns dimming or brightening according to need. She explained how her hybrid nature allowed her to perceive frequencies invisible to purebloods of either race, giving her unique insights into both cultures. These shared experiences gradually eroded their initial mistrust. Late-night conversations revealed common ground. Both had lost family to the conflict, both carried burdens of expectation from their respective peoples. The line between protector and protected blurred as they relied increasingly on each other's strengths. Their relationship evolved through countless small moments that tested their resolve. During one particularly harsh storm, Marcus watched as Eva's hybrid physiology manifested new adaptations. Her skin developed a crystalline texture that conducted heat, keeping them warm while others in the rebel camp suffered from the cold. This display of power sparked heated debates among the rebels, some viewing her as a potential weapon against their oppressors, others fearing her abilities might attract unwanted attention from both Lumini authorities and human forces. Marcus found himself defending her right to self-determination, arguing that her existence shouldn't be defined solely by strategic value. These arguments often spilled over into private discussions where they explored deeper philosophical questions about identity and belonging. Eva confessed her frustration at being constantly asked to prove her loyalty to either species, while Marcus shared his struggles with rigid military protocols that left little room for individual judgment. Their shared experiences created a foundation of trust that transcended their different backgrounds, though neither was ready to acknowledge the growing affection between them. The practical aspects of their partnership proved equally challenging. Marcus struggled to grasp the nuances of Lumini's social structures, often misinterpreting gestures and color patterns that conveyed complex emotions. Eva patiently guided him through these cultural minefields, explaining how subtle shifts in bioluminescence could transform a friendly greeting into a deadly insult. In return, Marcus taught her about human psychology and conflict resolution strategies, skills that proved invaluable in navigating the diverse personalities within the rebel group. Their combined expertise began influencing rebel strategy, leading to more successful operations against Lumini patrols. However, success brought increased scrutiny from both sides. Human surveillance drones occasionally spotted their activities, while Lumini hunter squads grew more persistent in their pursuit. The pressure mounted as they realized their actions were drawing attention far beyond their immediate surroundings, potentially escalating tensions between their species to dangerous levels. The turning point came during a particularly brutal skirmish with Lumini forces. Cornered in an ancient crystal cavern, Marcus and Eva found themselves separated from the main rebel group. As energy weapons discharged around them, illuminating the crystalline walls in brilliant hues, Marcus witnessed Eva's true capabilities. Her hybrid physiology manifested in ways neither had fully understood. Her skin shifted through defensive coloration patterns, absorbing and redirecting energy blasts. More astonishingly, she demonstrated the ability to interface directly with the planet's crystalline network, manipulating the environment to create barriers and pathways. This display of power forced Marcus to confront uncomfortable truths about the genetic experiments that might have created Eva's unique abilities. Were humans complicit in creating weapons-grade hybrids? The thought sickened him, yet he couldn't deny the beauty in Eva's transformations. As they fought side by side, a new understanding dawned. Their species' shared history was far more intertwined than either had realized, suggesting possibilities beyond simple conflict. In the aftermath of the battle, they discovered ancient Lumini technology embedded within the crystal formations. Eva's hybrid nature allowed her to access these systems, revealing records of early human-Lumini contact that predated official histories. The data painted a complex picture of mutual curiosity followed by tragic misunderstandings, with both species attempting to replicate each other's biological advantages through unethical experiments. Marcus grappled with the ethical implications, realizing that Earth Fleet's current stance on genetic research might be repeating past mistakes. Eva, meanwhile, struggled with the revelation that her existence wasn't entirely accidental. Her mother had been part of a classified project to create diplomatic bridges through hybrid offspring. This knowledge complicated their mission, as they now faced not just ideological opposition but institutional interests determined to maintain the status quo. Their growing intimacy became both a source of strength and vulnerability, as they recognized how easily their relationship could be exploited by those seeking to maintain interspecies hostility. The practical applications of Eva's abilities expanded rapidly as they experimented with various crystalline formations. They discovered that certain configurations amplified her powers, allowing her to extend protective fields or disrupt enemy technology. However, these enhancements came at a cost. Prolonged use triggered intense physical reactions that left her weakened and vulnerable. Marcus developed medical protocols to help her recover, combining human pharmaceutical knowledge with Lumini healing techniques learned from rebel medics. Their collaboration produced innovative solutions that caught the attention of senior rebel leaders, who began incorporating their methods into broader operational strategies. Yet this recognition brought new challenges, as factions within the resistance movement debated whether Eva should be used as a frontline weapon or protected as a symbol of peaceful coexistence. The debate mirrored larger questions about the direction of their struggle. Should they pursue violent revolution or seek diplomatic solutions? Marcus and Eva found themselves at the center of these discussions, their relationship evolving from mere allies to key decision-makers in shaping the future of both species. Their growing bond faced its greatest test during a mission to infiltrate a Lumini research facility. The rebels needed crucial information about upcoming military operations against human colonies. Disguised as a pure-blood Lumini, Eva navigated the compound's security while Marcus monitored from a safe distance. The plan unraveled when Eva encountered her biological father, a high-ranking commander in the Lumini military. Their confrontation tore open old wounds. He viewed her existence as an abomination, a living reminder of his people's shame at being bested by humans. Marcus watched through surveillance feeds as Eva stood firm despite the verbal assault, her hybrid nature becoming a weapon of truth rather than weakness. When the mission succeeded through their combined efforts, something fundamental shifted between them. In the aftermath, Eva confessed her fears about never truly belonging anywhere, while Marcus admitted his growing affection complicated his duty to Earth Fleet. Their connection deepened, becoming both a source of strength and potential vulnerability in the escalating war. The psychological toll of the mission manifested in unexpected ways. Eva began experiencing vivid dreams that blurred the lines between memory and prophecy, her hybrid consciousness accessing layers of ancestral knowledge from both her human and Lumini heritage. These visions often left her disoriented, struggling to distinguish between past traumas and future possibilities. Marcus adapted his role from protector to anchor, helping her ground herself in present reality while documenting these episodes for analysis. They discovered that certain crystalline formations could help stabilize her mental state, suggesting a deeper connection between her biology and the planet's ecosystem than previously understood. This realization opened new avenues of research as they began exploring how Eva's condition might represent an evolutionary bridge between species rather than merely an accident of genetics. Their relationship evolved through shared vulnerability, each revealing layers of personal history that deepened their understanding of one another. Marcus recounted stories of his childhood on Earth's frontier colonies, where he'd witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of interspecies conflict. Eva shared memories of growing up in hiding, always aware of being different, yet never fully belonging to either culture. These exchanges created a foundation of empathy that proved crucial during times of crisis. When a rival faction within the rebellion attempted to use Eva's hybrid status for political gain, Marcus's unwavering support helped her maintain her autonomy. Their partnership became a model for cross-species cooperation, demonstrating how mutual respect and understanding could overcome deeply ingrained prejudices. Yet this growing influence made them targets for those who preferred clear divisions between friend and enemy, forcing them to constantly balance their personal relationship with their public roles as symbols of potential unity. As tensions mounted between human and Lumini forces, Marcus received fragmented transmissions from Earth Fleet. The news was dire. Preparations for a full-scale invasion of the planet were underway, justified by years of border skirmishes and abductions. The irony wasn't lost on Eva. Humans planned to conquer using tactics eerily similar to those that had originally sparked the conflict. Their debates grew more heated as they argued strategy in the rebels' hidden base. Eva presented evidence of peaceful Lumini factions willing to negotiate, while Marcus countered with stories of human settlements destroyed without provocation. The weight of their positions pressed heavily on both. During these discussions, Eva began experiencing mysterious blackouts, waking to find herself in unfamiliar locations with no memory of how she got there. Medical scans revealed accelerated cellular activity, suggesting her hybrid nature was evolving in unpredictable ways. Marcus worried this transformation might make her a target for both sides, while Eva feared losing herself entirely to powers she couldn't control. The blackouts intensified, each episode leaving Eva more disoriented and physically drained. Marcus documented these occurrences meticulously, noting patterns that correlated with proximity to certain crystalline formations and fluctuations in the planet's energy fields. They discovered that during these episodes, Eva unconsciously interfaced with the planet's neural network, accessing vast repositories of historical data and environmental information. This ability proved both a blessing and a curse. While it provided crucial intelligence about impending military movements, it also destabilized her physiological systems. The rebels' medical team struggled to develop treatments that could mitigate these effects without suppressing her unique capabilities. Marcus took on the role of primary caregiver, learning to recognize warning signs and implement emergency protocols that minimized risk to both Eva and those around her. Their partnership evolved into a delicate dance of protection and empowerment as they worked to harness her abilities without compromising her well-being. The political implications of Eva's condition became increasingly apparent as news of her evolving powers spread through both species' intelligence networks. Human analysts speculated about weaponizing similar hybrid technologies, while Lumini authorities viewed her as either a dangerous anomaly or a potential asset. This attention forced Marcus and Eva to operate under constant threat of capture or assassination, their movements restricted to secure locations known only to trusted rebel cells. Yet, even in isolation, they found ways to contribute to the resistance effort, using Eva's enhanced perception to coordinate simultaneous strikes against key military installations. These operations demonstrated the strategic advantage of cross-species cooperation, though they also highlighted the personal sacrifices required to maintain their cover. The strain of maintaining multiple identities, rebel operative, diplomatic liaison, and intimate partners, tested their relationship to its limits, forcing them to constantly redefine boundaries between duty and devotion. The arrival of Earth Fleet's advanced scouts changed everything. Led by Commander Hayes, Marcus's former mentor, the human forces established a perimeter dangerously close to the rebel stronghold. Hayes recognized Marcus immediately, demanding his return to human custody while denouncing Eva as an abomination created by enemy scientists. The accusation cut deep, forcing Eva to question her origins anew. Marcus refused to abandon her, leading to a tense standoff where loyalty to species clashed with personal conviction. Meanwhile, the Lumini Council launched a propaganda campaign portraying Eva as a traitor conspiring with humans to destroy their culture. Bounty hunters from both sides began tracking them, making their position increasingly untenable. In a desperate attempt to prove her worth to both species, Eva used her unique abilities to prevent a massacre when human and Lumini forces nearly collided. The incident highlighted how their cooperation could achieve what neither side alone could manage, saving lives instead of taking them. Commander Hayes's presence complicated matters further, as Marcus struggled to reconcile his military training with his growing commitment to peace. The older officer represented everything Marcus had once aspired to be: disciplined, loyal, and dedicated to Earth Fleet's mission. Yet Hayes's rigid adherence to protocol blinded him to the potential for diplomatic solutions, viewing Eva's existence solely through the lens of strategic advantage. This perspective clashed dramatically with Marcus's evolving understanding of their situation, forcing him to articulate why their relationship represented more than just personal feelings. During a clandestine meeting, Marcus presented Hayes with evidence of Lumini factions willing to negotiate, arguing that Eva's hybrid nature offered a unique opportunity to bridge centuries of misunderstanding. The conversation ended in bitter disagreement, but Hayes's expression betrayed a flicker of doubt that gave Marcus hope for changing entrenched attitudes. The propaganda war escalated as both sides sought to control the narrative surrounding Eva's existence. Human media portrayed her as either a victim of Lumini experimentation or a potential weapon against their enemies, while Lumini broadcasts depicted her as a corrupted hybrid threatening their cultural purity. These conflicting narratives created chaos within their ranks, as rebel cells fractured along ideological lines. Some advocated using Eva's celebrity status to rally support for violent revolution, while others believed her story could inspire peaceful reconciliation. Marcus and Eva found themselves at the center of this ideological struggle, their every action scrutinized for political significance. They responded by focusing on concrete achievements, organizing supply runs that benefited both species, establishing communication channels between moderate factions, and documenting instances where cooperation prevented violence. These efforts slowly chipped away at centuries of prejudice, though progress remained frustratingly incremental in the face of mounting military tensions. The strain of their situation manifested physically and emotionally. Eva's bioluminescent patterns became erratic, reflecting her internal turmoil. During a particularly intense argument about whether to reveal their location to Earth fleet, Marcus accidentally triggered one of her blackout episodes. When she regained consciousness hours later, they discovered she'd unconsciously interfaced with the planet's crystalline network, accessing ancient records of first contact between humans and Lumini. These revelations painted a picture of mutual misunderstanding, initial peaceful exchanges soured by territorial disputes and cultural arrogance on both sides. The information galvanized their resolve to seek peace, but implementing their plan required gaining trust from both warring factions. They began secretly documenting their experiences, creating evidence of successful cross-species cooperation. However, time was running out. Earth Fleet's invasion fleet approached, and the Lumini prepared their doomsday weapon, capable of sterilizing entire planets. The ancient records revealed shocking details about both species' early attempts at cooperation. Humans had initially sought diplomatic relations, hoping to learn from Lumini technology, while the Lumini had been fascinated by human adaptability and creativity. However, these noble intentions had been undermined by competing corporate interests and military paranoia. Marcus recognized disturbing parallels between those events and current circumstances. Corporations still pressured Earth Fleet for access to Lumini resources, while military leaders dismissed diplomatic solutions as naive. Eva processed this information through her unique perspective, identifying patterns of behavior that repeated across generations. Their shared analysis led to a radical proposal: to use their personal story as a catalyst for change, broadcasting their experiences directly to both civilizations. The risk was enormous. Exposure would make them prime targets for extremists on both sides, but the potential reward outweighed their fears. They began preparing detailed documentation of their journey, including video records, medical data, and first-hand accounts of successful cooperation. Implementing their plan required careful coordination with trusted allies from both species. They established secure transmission points throughout the rebel network, ensuring redundancy in case any single location was compromised. Eva's hybrid abilities proved crucial in encrypting and transmitting data streams that neither human nor Lumini security systems could intercept. Marcus contributed his military expertise to create diversionary tactics that would draw attention away from their operation. The stress of maintaining this complex deception took its toll. Sleep deprivation and constant alertness wore down their physical health, while the emotional burden of carrying such responsibility weighed heavily on their relationship. Yet their shared purpose strengthened their bond, transforming romantic affection into something deeper and more profound, a partnership founded on mutual respect and a shared vision for the future. As they finalized preparations, they knew their actions would define not just their own fates, but potentially the course of interspecies relations for generations to come. Their opportunity came unexpectedly when both human and Lumini forces cornered them simultaneously. Instead of fighting, Marcus and Eva surrendered, requesting audience with the highest authorities of both sides. Using captured communications equipment, they broadcast their story live across both civilizations. Eva's hybrid nature served as living proof that their species could coexist and even complement each other. The transmission included documented evidence of their cooperation, the prevented massacre, and the historical records of initial peaceful contact. The response was immediate and polarized. Some viewed them as traitors, others as saviors. Within the chaos, a surprising ally emerged, Commander Hayes, who saw in Eva the potential for genuine understanding between species. With his support, they arranged a secret meeting between moderate leaders from both sides, using Eva's unique abilities to ensure secure communication channels. The first tentative steps toward peace proved excruciatingly difficult, requiring both to act as mediators while managing their deepening feelings for each other. The broadcast created shockwaves throughout both societies. On Earth, public opinion split dramatically. Some citizens rallied behind Marcus and Eva's message of hope, while others demanded military action to eliminate the perceived threat of hybridization. Among the Lumini, similar divisions emerged, with younger generations more open to change while traditionalists doubled down on their opposition. This polarization complicated their diplomatic efforts, as they had to navigate not just official negotiations, but also manage public perceptions across two very different cultures. Eva's role evolved from reluctant participant to active advocate, using her unique perspective to bridge gaps in understanding. She developed innovative ways to translate concepts between species, finding common ground in shared values of family, community, and progress. Marcus supported these efforts by providing context from human perspectives, helping both sides appreciate the validity of each other's concerns while challenging harmful stereotypes. The logistical challenges of organizing peace talks proved immense. Security arrangements required satisfying both human and Lumini requirements, leading to complex protocols that sometimes threatened to derail proceedings before they began. Communication barriers extended beyond language to include fundamental differences in how each species processed information and made decisions. Eva's hybrid abilities proved invaluable in these situations, allowing her to interpret not just words, but underlying emotions and intentions. However, this constant mental exertion took a severe toll on her physical health, forcing Marcus to take on additional responsibilities while ensuring she received necessary medical care. Their partnership deepened through these trials, as they developed intuitive ways of supporting each other under intense pressure. Small gestures, a reassuring touch during tense negotiations, a knowing glance across a crowded conference room, sustained them through the most challenging moments. Yet they both knew that true success would require more than just their personal commitment. It would demand fundamental changes in how both species viewed themselves and each other. The peace negotiations tested every aspect of their relationship. Human diplomats questioned Eva's loyalty, while Lumini representatives viewed Marcus with suspicion. Their role as mediators required maintaining professional distance, yet their growing affection kept breaking through in subtle gestures and shared glances. The stress manifested in physical ways. Marcus developed sensitivity to the planet's unique radiation, while Eva experienced increasingly powerful transformations. During one particularly tense negotiation session, she involuntarily shifted into a form that combined the best attributes of both species, stunning observers from both sides. This display inadvertently revealed the possibility of voluntary hybridization, offering hope for future generations. However, extremist factions on both sides interpreted this as a threat to racial purity. Assassination attempts followed, forcing them to rely even more heavily on each other for protection. Their bond strengthened through these trials, though they both knew their relationship would face its greatest challenge if peace actually succeeded. The negotiations revealed fundamental differences in how each species approached conflict resolution. Humans favored direct confrontation and clear agreements, while Lumini preferred elaborate rituals and symbolic gestures. Eva's hybrid nature allowed her to navigate these contrasting approaches, translating not just language, but cultural subtext. She developed innovative protocols that incorporated elements from both traditions, creating hybrid negotiation formats that respected both species' values. Marcus supported these efforts by documenting successes and failures, using his military experience to identify potential security risks while proposing practical solutions. Their complementary skills became a model for cross-species cooperation, though this very effectiveness made them targets for those who preferred clear divisions between allies and enemies. Extremist groups from both sides launched coordinated attacks on negotiation sites, forcing them to use their combined abilities to protect delegates. During one such incident, Marcus's tactical training merged seamlessly with Eva's environmental manipulation, creating impromptu defenses that saved hundreds of lives. These demonstrations of effective cooperation challenged traditional views about species limitations, though they also highlighted the personal sacrifices required to maintain their public roles. The psychological toll of constant mediation became increasingly apparent. Both Marcus and Eva developed stress-related conditions. Marcus suffered from chronic headaches caused by adapting to different atmospheric pressures, while Eva experienced periodic disorientation as her hybrid abilities fluctuated. They established private codes and signals to communicate their needs without betraying weakness to others, developing a language of subtle gestures and shared glances that conveyed volumes about their emotional states. These private moments became crucial anchors amid the chaos of public diplomacy, allowing them to maintain their partnership while fulfilling their roles as symbols of potential unity. Yet the pressure of representing entire civilizations often left them questioning their own identities. Marcus struggled with reconciling his military background with his advocacy for peace, while Eva wrestled with defining herself beyond her hybrid status. Their relationship evolved into something deeper than romance or partnership, a shared commitment to creating a future where neither species would have to choose between identity and cooperation. The breakthrough in Eva's condition became the catalyst for real progress in negotiations. Her stabilized hybrid form demonstrated the potential benefits of cooperation, enhanced cognitive abilities, increased resistance to environmental hazards, and the capacity to bridge communication gaps between species. Moderate leaders on both sides began seriously considering the possibility of peaceful coexistence. However, extremists responded with coordinated attacks on negotiation sites, forcing Marcus and Eva to use their combined abilities to protect delegates from both species. During one such attack, Marcus sacrificed himself to save a group of Lumini children, proving beyond doubt his commitment to peace. The incident created a shift in public opinion across both civilizations, with media coverage highlighting their selfless actions. Eva's role evolved from mediator to symbol of hope, her very existence challenging centuries of prejudice and fear. Yet the cost of their success weighed heavily. They spent less time together as demands on their attention increased, and their relationship strained under the pressure of representing entire species. Marcus's heroic actions during the attack on the negotiation site fundamentally altered perceptions across both species. Human skeptics who had previously viewed Eva as a threat now saw her through the lens of Marcus's sacrifice, recognizing how their partnership embodied the potential of cross-species cooperation. Among the Lumini, traditionalists found themselves questioning long-held beliefs about human aggression when confronted with evidence of such selfless behavior. Eva capitalized on this shift in sentiment, organizing joint rescue operations that demonstrated the practical benefits of working together. These initiatives yielded unexpected results. Human medical teams developed treatments for Lumini-specific conditions, while Lumini engineers created technologies that improved human environmental adaptation. The reciprocal exchange of knowledge and resources created tangible evidence of how cooperation could benefit both species, though extremist factions interpreted these developments as threats to cultural purity. The increased visibility placed tremendous strain on their personal relationship. Official functions required them to maintain professional distance, while private moments became increasingly rare. They developed sophisticated ways of communicating through coded messages and subtle gestures, maintaining their connection without compromising their public roles. Eva's hybrid abilities evolved to include enhanced empathic perception, allowing her to gauge Marcus's emotional state even during formal proceedings. This capability proved invaluable during tense negotiations, enabling her to anticipate and address his needs while maintaining diplomatic protocol. Marcus, in turn, adapted his military discipline to provide structured support for Eva's increasingly complex transformation cycles, creating schedules and protocols that balanced her public duties with necessary periods of rest and recovery. Their partnership became a carefully choreographed dance of public service and private devotion, each moment of intimacy hard-won and precious against the backdrop of escalating tensions. As negotiations progressed, both Marcus and Eva faced impossible choices. The Lumini Council offered Eva leadership of a new hybrid society, provided she helped eliminate human influence from their planet. Simultaneously, Earth Fleet proposed establishing her as the figurehead of a human Lumini alliance, essentially asking her to betray her Lumini heritage. The pressure mounted when genetic tests confirmed that her abilities weren't isolated. Other hybrids existed in hiding, waiting for a sign that it was safe to emerge. Both species began positioning her as the key to victory, while extremist factions plotted to eliminate her as a threat. Marcus wrestled with his duty to Earth Fleet and his love for Eva, knowing that choosing sides would mean losing her trust forever. In a climactic moment, Eva collapsed under the weight of expectations, her body undergoing a transformation that threatened to consume her entirely. Only Marcus's unwavering support and their combined knowledge of both species' medical technologies saved her, creating an unprecedented fusion of human and Lumini biology that stabilized her condition. The crisis revealed deeper truths about their relationship and its implications for interspecies relations. As Eva underwent treatment, Marcus coordinated efforts between human and Lumini medical teams, facilitating breakthroughs in understanding hybrid physiology. They discovered that Eva's condition represented not just a merging of two species, but an evolutionary leap forward, creating new neural pathways and biological functions that neither species possessed individually. This revelation transformed the negotiation dynamic, as both sides recognized that hybridization offered not just diplomatic possibilities, but genuine biological advantages. However, this understanding came at great personal cost. Eva's transformation left her physically and emotionally vulnerable, requiring intensive rehabilitation that forced Marcus to temporarily assume sole responsibility for diplomatic efforts. Their separation during this period tested their bond, as Marcus faced increasing pressure from Earth fleet to exploit Eva's condition for strategic advantage, while Eva struggled with doubts about her own identity and purpose. The medical breakthroughs achieved during Eva's treatment created new opportunities for cooperation. Joint research teams developed protocols for managing hybrid physiology, establishing parameters for safe integration of human and Lumini biological traits. These advances inspired hope among other hybrids who began emerging from hiding, their existence legitimizing Eva's role as a bridge between species. Marcus and Eva used this momentum to push for more inclusive negotiations, insisting that hybrid voices be represented in peace talks. Their advocacy faced fierce resistance from traditionalists on both sides, who viewed hybridization as a threat to cultural integrity. Yet the practical benefits of their approach became increasingly evident. Hybrid diplomats proved uniquely capable of resolving conflicts that had stymied pureblood negotiators for generations. As their influence grew, Marcus and Eva found themselves redefining what it meant to serve their respective species, transforming from mere representatives into architects of a new interspecies society that valued diversity over purity. The final stages of negotiation occurred aboard a neutral space station orbiting the planet. Representatives from both species gathered to draft the framework for coexistence, with Marcus and Eva serving as living examples of successful integration. The process revealed unexpected synergies between human and Lumini technologies, suggesting that cooperation could lead to advancements benefiting both civilizations. However, the extremist threat remained. A rogue faction of Lumini warriors attempted to sabotage the proceedings, believing hybridization would dilute their species' purity. In the ensuing battle, Eva's abilities reached their peak, allowing her to interface with both human and Lumini technology simultaneously. This demonstration convinced even the most skeptical delegates of the practical benefits of cooperation. The resulting treaty established shared territories, joint research initiatives, and a framework for voluntary hybridization programs. Most significantly, it created a new diplomatic corps composed of individuals from both species, with Marcus and Eva appointed as its first leaders. The implementation phase proved even more challenging than the negotiations themselves. Establishing shared territories required resolving complex property rights issues that span generations of conflict. Joint research initiatives faced funding battles as both species governments struggled to allocate resources fairly while addressing domestic concerns. The voluntary hybridization program generated intense controversy, with religious leaders from both species condemning what they viewed as unnatural interference with natural order. Marcus and Eva addressed these challenges by creating innovative governance structures that incorporated elements from both cultures' administrative traditions. They established rotating leadership positions that ensured equal representation while promoting cross-cultural understanding. Their approach emphasized gradual, consensual change over revolutionary upheaval, though this strategy often frustrated those seeking immediate solutions to centuries-old problems. Despite these frustrations, their methodical approach yielded steady progress, with each successfully implemented initiative building momentum for further cooperation. The personal costs of their leadership roles became increasingly apparent as they struggled to maintain work-life balance. Official functions consumed their days, while late-night strategy sessions ate into what little private time they had. They developed sophisticated coping mechanisms. Eva used her enhanced perception to monitor Marcus's stress levels, while he implemented military-style efficiency protocols to maximize their productivity. Yet these measures couldn't fully compensate for the emotional toll of constant public scrutiny. Media coverage romanticized their relationship while simultaneously questioning their motivations, creating a toxic environment where every personal decision carried political significance. To preserve their sanity, they established strict boundaries around private time, using encrypted communication channels to maintain intimacy without compromising security. These moments of respite became crucial anchors in their increasingly public lives, reminding them of why they had chosen this difficult path. Years later, Marcus and Eva stood together on the observation deck of the newly christened Unity Station, watching as ships from both species docked peacefully for the first time. Their journey from adversaries to partners had fundamentally altered the course of interstellar relations. The hybrid population grew steadily, combining the best traits of both species while developing unique capabilities of their own. Yet their success hadn't come without sacrifice. They'd given up their private lives to serve as symbols of the new order. As they watched young hybrids playing freely in the station's gardens, they knew their choices had been worth it. The galaxy had learned that differences need not divide, that apparent weaknesses could become strengths when combined with others. Their story served as a testament to the power of trust across species boundaries. For those seeking inspiration in times of conflict, remember, sometimes the most unlikely alliances create the brightest futures. The legacy of their work extended far beyond immediate diplomatic achievements. The hybrid population developed unique cultural practices that blended human and Lumini traditions, creating art forms and social structures that neither parent species could have imagined independently. Scientific collaborations yielded breakthroughs in fields ranging from medicine to environmental engineering, with hybrid researchers often bridging conceptual gaps that had previously hindered progress. Economic partnerships flourished as businesses recognized the competitive advantages of cross-species innovation. Yet perhaps their greatest achievement lay in changing fundamental perceptions about identity and belonging. Young people from both species grew up viewing hybridization not as a threat, but as an opportunity for growth and evolution. This cultural shift manifested in declining support for extremist factions and increasing pressure on governments to prioritize cooperation over conflict. Their personal evolution mirrored the broader societal changes. Marcus and Eva transitioned from active leadership to mentorship roles, guiding new generations of diplomats and researchers while documenting their experiences for future reference. They established educational programs that emphasized empathy and cross-cultural understanding, using their own story to illustrate the potential rewards of embracing difference. These initiatives faced occasional backlash from traditionalists who viewed them as too progressive, but the overall trend pointed toward greater acceptance and integration. Marcus often reflected on how far they had come, from fugitives hiding in the shadows to respected figures shaping the future of two species. Eva, meanwhile, found fulfillment in helping other hybrids navigate their identities, drawing from her own struggles to provide guidance and support. Together, they created a network of hybrid communities that served as living testaments to the possibilities of coexistence, each one a microcosm of the larger vision they had fought so hard to achieve. Yet the journey was not without its lingering challenges. Extremist factions, though diminished, still operated in the shadows, occasionally surfacing to disrupt progress with acts of sabotage or propaganda. These incidents forced Marcus and Eva to remain vigilant, their roles evolving into something akin to guardians of the fragile peace they had helped forge. They worked closely with security forces from both species, developing protocols to identify and neutralize threats while minimizing collateral damage. Their approach emphasized de-escalation and rehabilitation over punishment, reflecting their belief that even those who opposed unity could be brought around through understanding and dialogue. This philosophy, though controversial, proved effective in reducing recidivism among captured extremists, further solidifying the foundations of the new order. The cultural exchange between humans and Lumini deepened over time, leading to unexpected innovations in art, music, and technology. Hybrid musicians composed symphonies that resonated with both species' auditory ranges, creating experiences that transcended language barriers. Artists collaborated on installations that combined human creativity with bioluminescent techniques, producing works that shimmered with meaning for viewers from either background. Technological advancements accelerated as engineers from both species pooled their knowledge, resulting in breakthroughs that neither could have achieved alone. These developments were not just practical but symbolic, demonstrating how collaboration could produce outcomes greater than the sum of their parts. Marcus and Eva took pride in these achievements, seeing them as proof that their sacrifices had been worthwhile. Their personal relationship continued to evolve, shaped by the demands of their roles and the passage of time. While the intensity of their early days together had mellowed into a deeper, more enduring bond, they remained acutely aware of the weight of their responsibilities. They celebrated small victories together, quiet dinners in private quarters, stolen moments of laughter during tense negotiations, and the shared joy of watching young hybrids thrive in an environment free from fear. Yet they also bore the scars of their journey. Sleepless nights spent strategizing, arguments over difficult decisions, and the constant awareness that their choices would ripple across generations. Despite these burdens, they never lost sight of the hope that had sustained them through the darkest times, the belief that their efforts could create a better future for all. As the years passed, Marcus and Eva began to see the fruits of their labor in ways that went beyond treaties and technologies. Stories emerged of human and Lumini families forming bonds of friendship, of children growing up bilingual in both species' languages, of communities coming together to celebrate festivals that honored traditions from both cultures. These anecdotes, though seemingly small, carried profound significance, signaling a shift in how individuals viewed one another. The fear and mistrust that had once defined interspecies relations gave way to curiosity and mutual respect, laying the groundwork for a truly integrated society. Marcus and Eva took heart in these changes, knowing that lasting peace required more than just institutional reforms. It needed to take root in the hearts and minds of ordinary people. On the 10th anniversary of the Unity Treaty, Marcus and Eva stood once again on the observation deck of Unity Station, this time surrounded by representatives from both species who had gathered to celebrate a decade of cooperation. The station itself had become a symbol of their success, its crystalline architecture blending human engineering with Lumini aesthetics in a harmonious fusion that mirrored the broader societal transformation. As speeches were delivered and accolades exchanged, Marcus and Eva exchanged a glance that spoke volumes, a silent acknowledgement of the sacrifices, triumphs, and unspoken dreams that had brought them to this moment. They knew that the work was far from over, that challenges would continue to arise as the hybrid population grew and evolved, but they also knew that the foundation they had built was strong enough to withstand whatever lay ahead. The ceremony concluded with the unveiling of a monument dedicated to their journey, a towering sculpture that depicted Marcus and Eva standing side by side, their forms merging into a single figure that radiated light in patterns reminiscent of both species. The inscription at its base read simply, "Through trust and courage, we found unity." As the crowd dispersed, Marcus and Eva lingered, their hands brushing lightly against the cool surface of the monument. It was a poignant reminder of how far they had come, from adversaries to partners to symbols of hope. Yet it was also a call to action, a reminder that their legacy depended not on statues or speeches but on the lives they touched and the values they upheld. In the years that followed, Marcus and Eva transitioned fully into advisory roles, mentoring younger leaders who would carry the torch of unity into the future. They established a foundation dedicated to fostering cross-species innovation and understanding, using their experiences to guide policy decisions and mediate conflicts. Their story became required reading in schools across both civilizations, taught not just as history, but as a blueprint for resolving differences through empathy and cooperation. Though they no longer occupied the front lines of diplomacy, their influence continued to shape the course of interspecies relations, ensuring that the lessons of their journey would not be forgotten. As they looked back on their lives together, Marcus and Eva found solace in the knowledge that they had made a difference. not just for themselves but for countless others who would never know their names. Their love had been tested by war, politics, and prejudice, yet it had endured, becoming a beacon of hope in a galaxy often divided by fear and misunderstanding. They had proven that even the most unlikely alliances could bridge the widest chasms, that trust and courage could overcome centuries of conflict. And in doing so, they had shown that the future was not something to be feared, but something to be created, together. For those inspired by their story, remember that change begins with a single step, a single act of trust, a single moment of courage. Whether you're facing personal challenges or striving to make a difference in the world, know that your actions can ripple outward in ways you might never imagine. Subscribe now to explore more tales of resilience, cooperation, and the power of unity across the stars. Your journey starts here.